Hello everyone, welcome to the video lecture on subsystem design. In this lecture, we are going to study about different designs of adders. The syllabus we had covered in the previous lecture was design of ALU subsystem in the data path. Now under ALU, we had designed a 4-bit adder, and this 4-bit adder was used to perform the arithmetic operations such as addition and subtraction and logical operations such as AND, OR, XOR and XNOR. The 4-bit adder that we had designed was a ripple carry adder or a parallel adder. We know that in the parallel adder, the carry has to be propagated from the first stage till the last stage, and then only the total sum would be obtained. Thus, here in this particular adder, the delay is more, or in other words, the computation time to obtain Cout and the sum bits is very high. So, we have to go for other designs of the adders. The portions which we are going to cover in today's lecture are further consideration of adders, under which we are going to study Manchester adder, carry select adder, carry skip adder and carry look ahead adder. Further consideration of adders. Adders are the basic components of the arithmetic processor. Adder circuitry should be further considered to refine the design for optimized performance of the adders. We know that the sum is obtained by performing XOR operation of the 3 bits A, B and C. So, S can be written as H into Ck minus 1 whole bar plus H bar into Ck minus 1. And carry can be written as, that is the generated carry or the new carry, Ck is equal to Hk into Ck minus 1 plus Ak into Bk, where Hk is the half sum or output of half adder, which is Ak XOR Bk, or it is A bar B plus AB bar. The propagate signal Pk is A XOR B and the generate signal G is AB. Now, what is the significance of the propagate signal and the generate signal? When A is not equal to B, or in other words, A XOR B equal to 1, that is P equal to 1, in that case, the new carry or Cout will be equal to the carry input or the old carry. That is, Ck will be equal to Ck minus 1. But if A and B are equal to 1, then whatever may be the value of the previous carry, it does not matter. Cout will be equal to 1. Thus, it implies that when Gk is equal to 1, then automatically a carry is generated by the adder. So, the new carry Ck can be written in terms of the propagate signal and generate signal as Ck is equal to Pk into Ck minus 1 plus Gk. We know that the carry can also be written as AC plus BC plus AB. Thus, Ck is equal to Ak plus Bk into Ck minus 1 plus Ak into Bk. So, we can see that from these two expressions, Pk, that is Ak XOR Bk or Ak plus Bk, can be used interchangeably. The sum bit obtained from the adder is given as Sk is equal to Ak XOR Bk XOR Ck minus 1. So, we can also write the sum as Ck bar, that is new carry whole bar, into Ak plus Bk plus Ck minus 1 plus Ak Bk Ck minus 1. Now, if Ak equal to Bk equal to 0, we know that the new carry generated is equal to 0. What does this mean? This means that whatever may be the previous carry, it does not matter. New carry is 0, or we can say that the carry is killed. Thus, the kill signal K is given by A bar into B bar. Similarly, as I explained you previously, if A equal to B equal to 1, then the new carry is equal to 1. That means the carry is generated. Thus, if A and B are 1, whatever may be the previous carry, the new carry is 1. Thus, the generate signal G is equal to A into B. If A is not equal to B, that is A is 0, B is 1, or A is 1, B is 0, then the new carry will be equal to old carry, or CK will be equal to CK minus 1. That is, the carry is propagated through the adder cell. Thus, the propagate signal is given by PK is equal to AK XOR BK. Now, the same thing has been represented as a block diagram. Now, if Xi and Yi are the input bits given to the adder cell, then this particular block is performing the XOR operation of X and Y. So, P is equal to X XOR Y. This Pi signal is actually being given as the select line to the 2:1 multiplexer. The first input to the 2:1 multiplexer is Y, and the second input to the 2:1 multiplexer is the previous carry Ci. Thus, the new carry Ci plus 1 will depend upon the value of Pi. If Pi is equal to 0, that means A and B are equal. So, if A and B are equal, the value of Y is passed on to the new carry. But if Pi is equal to 1, then Ci, that is old carry, is going to be passed on to the new carry, that is Ci plus 1. And the sum is obtained by performing XOR operation of P with the old carry, where P is Xi XOR Yi, and XORed with Ci will give us Xi XOR Yi XOR Ci. Similarly, we can also write the adder cell in this particular manner, where the block is going to generate the generate signal, propagate signal, and the kill signal by taking the inputs X and Y. We know generate signal G is equal to XY, propagate signal P is equal to X XOR Y, kill signal K is equal to X bar Y bar. Now, these signals are being given as the control signals to 3 blocks here or 3 switches here. If Ki is equal to 1, then this particular switch is going to be on. So, when this switch is going to be on, we know that the output carry is going to be discharged to ground. Similarly, if Pi is equal to 1, then this Pi is controlling this particular switch. If Pi is equal to 1, this particular switch is on, so that Ci is going to be propagated to the output, or Ci plus 1 is equal to Ci. Similarly, if Gi is equal to 1, this Gi is actually controlling this switch. So, when Gi is equal to 1, the switch is on, and the new carry is going to become logic 1 by charging through this particular switch. Similarly, the sum can be obtained by performing the XOR operation of Pi and Ci. Thus, we can see that there are different ways of depicting the addition or the adder cell. Now, I had told you that S can be written as new carry whole bar into A plus B plus Ck minus 1, that is previous carry, plus A B Ck minus 1. Now we can prove this by substituting the value of C as A plus B into Ck minus 1 plus AB. So what we can see is that in this, once we have substituted the value of Ck, then using the De Morgan's theorem, we are going to remove the complete complement here, and then we are going to get S is equal to A bar B bar C plus A bar B C bar plus A B bar C bar plus ABC. And we know that carry is equal to A plus B into C plus AB. Thus, we can make use of the CMOS circuit to design the adder cell. We know that C is equal to A plus B into old carry plus AB. So, when we have A plus B here, so for A plus B, what we are doing, we have two NMOS transistors in parallel to which we are giving A and B as the inputs. Into C, so we have taken one NMOS transistor in series to which Ck minus 1 is given as the input. Now, to whole of this branch, it is plus AB, so two transistors are going to be connected in series here to which A and B are given as the inputs, and this branch is parallel to the first branch. Thus, we are going to get new carry whole bar, that is Ck bar at the output. Similarly, what we are doing is that we can draw the circuit by taking the opposite circuitry of the NMOS in the PMOS side, or we can also take it in this manner. We can get C bar as A plus B into C plus AB whole bar. Now here A plus B into C plus AB whole bar can be written as A bar into B bar plus C bar into A bar plus B bar. So when we are actually designing the PMOS part of the circuit, we will take these terms as inputs to the gates of the PMOS transistors. So when I say A bar, it implies that A is given to the gate of the PMOS transistor. Into B bar implies these two PMOS transistors are in series. So you can see that here we have A bar into B bar. So two PMOS transistors are in series to which A and B are given as input. Similarly, we have A bar plus B bar expression here. So two PMOS transistors in parallel to which A and B are given as inputs. And into C bar is there. So to this parallel combination, C is, we have one more PMOS transistor to which C is given as the input. So from this, what we understand is that if we have to design the PMOS part of the circuit, once NMOS part of the circuit has been designed, there are different ways of designing the PMOS part of the circuit. We generally, what we do is that we draw the PMOS part of the circuit which is opposite to that of the NMOS. That means if two NMOS transistors are in series, in PMOS, two PMOS transistors will be in parallel. Similarly, if two NMOS transistors are in parallel, then in PMOS side, two PMOS transistors will be in series. But we can also design the PMOS part of the circuit in this fashion by taking the complement of the signal which we have to generate, and accordingly what we can see here is that if we have the term A bar, it implies A has to be given to the gate of the PMOS transistor. Now similarly, we can actually draw the circuitry for the sum as well. So we know sum is equal to Ck bar into Ak plus Bk plus Ck minus 1 plus Ak Bk Ck minus 1. Now Ck bar has already been generated by the carry part of the circuit. So that is taken as the input here. We have AK plus BK plus CK minus 1. So 3 NMOS transistors are in parallel, to which CK bar, another NMOS transistor is connected, to which whose gate is connected to CK bar. Similarly, we have another term here, ABCK minus 1. So 3 NMOS transistors in parallel, and these two branches or the paths are parallel to each other because in middle we have plus. Now, as I had explained you previously, for some also the PMOS part of the circuitry, we are finding out S bar, that is we apply complement to the expression for S, and once we get the expression by using De Morgan's theorem, then you can see here we have A bar, B bar, CK minus 1 bar. So we use 3 PMOS transistors in series, to which A, B and CK minus 1 are given as the inputs. Similarly, we have AK bar plus BK bar plus CK minus 1. So we have 3 PMOS transistors in parallel, to which AK, BK and CK minus 1 are given as the inputs. Now this term is ANDed with CK. So we have one PMOS transistor which is connected in series to the parallel combination, to which CK bar is given as the input. Because here the term we have CK, so we are giving CK bar to the gate of this particular PMOS transistor, so that when we combine both NMOS and PMOS part of the circuit, we will get SK bar. So in this way we can draw the complete circuit where CK bar is obtained from the carry part of the circuit, and then that is given as input to the sum part of the circuit. Now we have the condition as I had already explained you previously. If A is equal to B, then the new carry is equal to A is equal to B. But if A is not equal to B, then the new carry will be equal to old carry. Thus, we can make use of the transmission gate and the pass transistors to perform this particular operation. Previous circuit was the CMOS circuit. We had used the CMOS technology. We can instead make use of the pass transistors and the transmission gate, that is switch logic can be used. Now here the output of the XOR gate is A XOR B, so that A XOR B is given as input to the NOT gate and A XOR B whole bar is given as the output. Similarly, CK minus 1, that is the previous carry, is given as input to the NOT gate, so that CK minus 1 whole bar is obtained. We will get the sum as A XOR B whole bar XOR CK minus 1 whole bar, which is equivalent to A XOR B XOR C. Thus, when we give 1 0 as the input to the input bits A and B, then you can see that the what we have got is that we have got output of the XOR gate as 1, and when this one is passed through the NOT gate, we have got 0 as the output, and 0 is given to the PMOS part of the transmission gate, 1 is given to the NMOS part of the transmission gate. Thus, 1 given to gate of NMOS and 0 given to gate of PMOS, the transmission gate will be on, and when this transmission gate is on, then we can say that this CK minus 1 bar is going to be transmitted to the output as CK bar. Thus, if AK is not equal to BK, then A XOR B is equal to 1, the transmission gate is on, and CK bar is equal to CK minus 1 bar, or it implies CK is equal to CK minus 1. Now, if A is equal to B equal to 1, then in that particular case, the output of the XOR gate is 0 and the output of the NOT gate is 1. Thus, when 0 is given to the gate of the NMOS transistor and 1 is given to the gate of the PMOS transistor, the transmission gate is off. So, when the transmission gate is off, then in that particular case, this particular signal is not going to be transmitted through the transmission gate, that is CK-1 bar will not be able to pass through the transmission gate. But when A is equal to 1 and B equal to 1, you can see that here A and B are given as inputs to the gates of these two NMOS transistors. So when A and B are 1, then automatically these two NMOS transistors are going to be on, and then the output is going to discharge through these transistors to ground, thus making CK bar is equal to 0 or CK is equal to 1. Similarly, if A is equal to B is equal to 0, then output of the XOR gate is 0 or output of the NOT gate is 1. So once again the transmission gate is off. So when the transmission gate is off, once again CK-1 bar cannot be passed to the output, but zeros when they are given to the gates of the PMOS transistors, both the PMOS transistors are on and the output carry is going to be charged through these pass transistors to VDD. That is, CK bar is equal to 1 or CK equal to 0. What is Manchester carry chain? Manchester carry chain, here in this particular case, what we are doing is that we are making use of the propagate signal and the generate signal to obtain the carry output. Similarly, later we are going to get the sum by XOR, performing the XOR operation of A, B and the carry in. Now here the carry path is pre-charged by the clock signal and is then gated by a signal by a single N-type transistor, that is the NMOS transistor. So what we can see here is that if A is not equal to B, that is P is equal to 1, then in that case, when P is equal to 1, the NMOS transistor is on. So when the NMOS transistor is on, this CK-1 is going to pass to the output, that is carry out CK will be equal to CK-1. Similarly, if clock is equal to 0, so here when clock equal to 0, this clock signal is being given to the gate of the PMOS transistor and the gate of this NMOS transistor. So if clock is equal to 0, then the PMOS transistor is on, thus causing the output carry to be charged to 1. But now, if the clock signal is equal to 1, then in that case, NMOS transistor is on and PMOS transistor is off. So, here in this particular case, when the PMOS transistor is off, the output carry is not going to be charged to 1, but whether the output carry is going to discharge or not, it depends upon the signal GK, which is being given as the input to the gate of another NMOS transistor. Here capital GK is given by A bar into B bar. Thus, if A and B are 0, then only this capital GK will be equal to 1. Only for this condition, GK will be equal to 1 and the output carry is going to be discharged to ground. That means when clock is equal to 1 and A is equal to be equal to 0, capital GK will be equal to 1, thus discharging the output carry to 0 or making CK is equal to 0. But if A and B are not equal to 0, then in that case you can see that this NMOS transistor will be off, so that the output carry will have to maintain the same value which it was previously. having, or in other words, C will be equal to 1. Thus, we can make use of this particular block of the carry generation to actually perform replace the carry circuitry of the complete 4-bit adder. So basically here the Manchester adder, it is very fast. That means the Manchester cells are very fast, but large set of these Manchester cells, when they are cascaded, they tend to slow down. Why do they slow down? This is because we have seen that when the pass transistors are being cascaded, then the delay will be proportional to the number of pass transistors that are being connected in series, or the time delay is proportional to square of the number of the pass transistors that are connected in series. So in practice, no more than 4 pass transistors should be connected. If required, a buffer should be inserted between each group of 4 pass transistors. So thus, when we are actually cascading the previous cell, then in that case we can see that after every 4 cells or 4 blocks, a buffer, that is a non-inverting buffer, here you can see non-inverting buffer is connected so that the time delay is reduced. Now this is nothing but whatever the circuitry we had seen for one cell carry generation, that has been repeated, or we have cascaded the 4 such cells. So here in this particular case, we have made use of you can see that we had made use of CMOS technology, we have made use of switch logic, that is the pass transistors in the transmission gate were used. We can also make use of BiCMOS technology. So BiCMOS technology is used to implement this such arrangements so that speed improvement can be achieved, but it will give lower input voltage swings to achieve full speed advantage. Now, if the number of bits, that is n, present in the two numbers to be added is less than or equal to 8, then ripple carry adder can be used that would have 8 adder elements or full adders. The carry completion time would be proportional to n. For large adders, that means if the value of n or the n bit numbers to be added has number of bits greater than 8, then special techniques need to be adopted to improve the speed of the operation. Improvement in speed can be obtained at the cost of area occupied in the silicon as complexity of the circuit increases. Now, I hope you understood this particular point. If the speed has to be improved, then in that case, the complexity of the circuit will increase, and obviously the area occupied by that circuit would be more. Thus, there is always a trade-off between speed and area of the circuit in the VLSI design. Now, if you want to improve the speed, you have to compromise with the area, that is, area would be large. Similarly, if you feel that area is important to you, that means you want to optimize the area, then you have to forego with the speed, or in other words, the delay would increase. So first let us see what is carry select adder. Carry select adder is also known as conditional sum adder. Here the adder is divided into blocks. That means the n-bit adder is going to be divided into blocks, and each block is composed of 2 adders. So in that block, the 2 adders are going to take logical 0 as carry in and logical 1 as carry in. That means one adder is going to perform the addition operation by taking the input bits and carry in as 0. Another adder is going to perform the addition operation by taking the input bits and carry in as 1. Thus, both the adders are going to generate the carry out and the sum and keep ready before the previous carry is being given to this block. Thus, the sum and the carry out generated are then selected by the actual carry out from the previous block using the multiplexer. I told you the two adders that are present in the block, they keep the sum and the carry out ready before the previous block would have generated its carry signal and given as input to the next block. So once that previous block has generated the carry output signal and given as input to the next block, this next block would already have its carry out and sum ready for both the conditions if C input was 1 or 0. Thus, which sum to be selected is taken care of by using the multiplexer. Diagram of one block is shown in the figure here. Now, let us take one 4-bit adder to which A0, B0, A1, B1, A2, B2 and A3, B3 are given as inputs. Cin, that is the carry input, is also given as the input. So what does this imply? This implies that this 4-bit adder, it consists of 4 full adders. And the carry is propagated from one stage to the next. So to the first full adder A0, B0, Cin is given as the input, S0 is produced and C0 is produced. To the second full adder A1, B1, C0 is given as the input, so C1 and S1 are produced. Third full adder A2, B2 and C1 are given as the inputs, C2 and S2 are the outputs. To the fourth full adder A3, B3, C2 are given as the inputs, C3 and S3 is the output. Thus, C3 is the final carry out of this block of 4-bit adder. Now, I told you in one block there are 2 adders present. So we have 2 4-bit adders to which you can see carry input 0 has been given and carry input 1 has been given. Now A4, B4, A5, B5, A6, B6, A7, B7 are given to both of these 4-bit adders. So the first 4-bit adder C is equal to 0 is given, and to the second 4-bit adder C is equal to 1 is given as the input. Now by the time this first 4-bit adder is going to produce C3, S3, S2, S1, S0, by then both these 4-bit adders would produce C7, S7, S6, S5, S4. By taking the input carry is equal to 1 and input carry equal to 0. Now, which particular sum and the carry have to be taken depending upon the C3 value generated, that is obtained by using the multiplexer. So we can see here that S4 of the 2 blocks are going to be given as input to the multiplexer, that is 2:1 multiplexer, and C3, that is the output carry of the previous block, acts as a select line. So if C3 is equal to 0, S4 of this first block would be considered as the final sum. Excuse me. Similarly, if C3 is equal to 1, then S4 of the second block would be considered as the output. Next, we use another 2:1 multiplexer to find out the S5 bit. Similarly, S6 bit and S7 bit. And we take C7 from both the 4-bit adders as input to another 2:1 multiplexer and select line being C3 to obtain actual value of C7. So if we had the next block, then this C7 would have become the select line to the multiplexers of the next block. Thus, here we can see that the carry select adder structure for 6 bits has been shown, wherein you can see that the first adder block, it consists of 2 adder elements here. Now these 2 adder elements are going to take A0, B0, A1, B1 as the inputs. So first adder element takes A0, B0 and Cin as the input and generates S0 and C0 as the output. Now the second adder element is going to take A1, B1 and C0 as the inputs to produce C1 and S1. The second block once again consists of the adder elements, wherein here this particular block contains 4 adder elements. That means for each adder element you have 2 parallel paths. You can see here that this adder element is going to take A2 and B2 as the input and Cin as 0 to produce its output. Similarly, the parallel adder element once again takes A2, B2 as the inputs, taking Cin as 1 and producing its output. Now whether the first adder element output has to be chosen or the second adder element output has to be chosen, that is decided by this two-way multiplexer, that is 2:1 multiplexer, to which C1 is being given as the select line. So if C1 is equal to 0, first adder element outputs are going to be selected. Similarly, if C1 is equal to 1, the second adder element outputs are going to be selected. Similarly, you can see this adder element A3, B3 are given as the inputs to both these adder elements, to which the carry is 0 and 1 respectively. Once again, you have a multiplexer to which C1 is given as the select line. And we make use of another 2:1 multiplexer to get the carry. That is, the carry generated is going to be given, so that the multiplexer is going to select the value of C3. Now you can see this C3 act as a select line to the next set of multiplexers, that is next block of the adder circuitry. So here, if 6-bit addition need to be performed, you can see that here 3 blocks have been used, each block containing 2 adders, and every adder has a parallel adder, so that the adder and the parallel and another parallel path adder are given the carry input as 0 and 1. Thus, if we see that we are making use of n-bit ripple carry adder, then the computation time t is equal to k1 into n. N is the number of bits to be added and k1 is the delay through one adder cell. Why it is k1 into n? Because in this particular case, the carry has to be propagated to each and every adder cell, and then only we will get the final Cout value and the final sum. Thus, every adder cell delay is going to be added, or we get t is equal to k1 into n. Now, if the adder is divided into blocks, as I showed you, if it is divided into blocks, then each is having 2 parallel paths. Then in that case, the computation time t is given by k1 into n by 2 plus k2. What is k1? I already told you k1 is the delay through adder cell, and k2 is the time needed by the multiplexer of the next block to select actual output carry. In short, it is nothing but the multiplexer delay. How did we get this? T is equal to k1 into n by 2 plus k2. I had actually one adder block in that you have 2 parallel paths. first path and the second path adder cells are going to generate the output simultaneously, and the carry out is selected using the multiplexer in addition to the sum bits anyway. So here we have n by 2 number of cells into K1 plus K2 is nothing but the multiplexer delay, after which we are going to get the output. Now, if n-bit adder is divided into m blocks, in the previous diagram I showed you the 6-bit adder was divided into 3 blocks. So, if n-bit adder is divided into m blocks, each block has p adder cells in series. So, in the previous diagram, 6-bit adder is divided into 3 blocks. Each block has 2 adder cells in series. And I told you every adder cell will have its parallel path, that is a parallel path in which another adder cell would be present. Then in that case, the computation time t is given by pk1 plus m-1 into k2, where n, that is number of bits to be added, is given by m into p. One block contains p adder cells, so m blocks will contain m into p adder cells, which in turn gives the number of bits to be added. Now, how did we get t, the value of t here? T is obtained by, you can see that one particular block has p adder cells, and you can see that in that p adder cells the carry has to be propagated to the output, that is the last adder cell in that block. Thus the delay, the time taken to get the carry output from one block will be p into k1, where k1 is the delay through one adder cell. And like that, what we have to do, we have to take into consideration the multiplexers as well. First block will not have the multiplexer cells, but from second block onwards you have multiplexers. So that is why m-1 multiplexers into K2. Every block you have the multiplexer cell. So m-1, that is the number of multiplexer blocks present, into K2, where K2 is the multiplexer cell delay. Thus, the computation time t will be pk1 plus m-1 into k2. Now, how to find out the minimum value of t? Minimum value of t can be obtained by differentiating t with respect to m and equating it to 0. Thus, dt by dm is equal to d by dm of the computation time expression, that is pk1 plus m-1 into k2. But n is equal to m into p, so from this we can write p is equal to n by m. So that is what I have substituted here, and differentiate with respect to m. So when we differentiate with respect to m, for the first term we will get minus m to the power of minus 2 n k1, and second term we will get k2. And we equate it to 0. So when I bring this term to the other side, finally we will get m is equal to square root of n k1 by k2. So this is the value of m for which minimum value of time, computation time can be obtained. As a further improvement, each succeeding block may be extended by one or more stages to account for the delay in the multiplexer. Now, previous example what I had showed you was every block has 2 adders. Now, the second block is going to select its output using the multiplexer. By the time the second block is going to select the multiplexers, the third block may have one more adder cell. Instead of just 2 adders, we can have one more adder cell, which is going to take care of the delay of the multiplexer of the previous block, and thus by the time the second block multiplexer is going to generate its output, in the third block 3 adder cells would be ready with their outputs, and then the multiplexer of the third block would select its outputs. So, as an improvement, what we can do is that each succeeding blocks, the number of adders may be increased. Now, next we go for carry skip adders. Now, what is carry skip adder? Here, if all the input bits of the ripple carry adder are different, then carry is propagated at all bit positions and never generated. This we know. That what does this mean? When A and B inputs given to each full adder of the ripple carry adder are different. Different means one is 0, another is 1. Then we know that if the input bits A and B are different, the carry is just going to be propagated. So if all the values of A and B are different, then the carry is propagated and never generated. Then addition would be completed after the carry is propagated through the entire adder. Now, carry skip adder takes the advantage of both propagation and generation of the carry signal. Thus, here the adder divided into blocks. Once again, you can see like previous, that is carry select adder. Here also, in carry skip adder also, the adder is going to be divided into blocks. For each block, a special circuit is used to output a signal called block propagation signal, which is equal to 1 when A and B in all the bit positions of that block differ. What does that mean? You have one block. In that block, let us say you have 4 adder cells. So to 4 adder cells, you will be giving 4 bits from each of the inputs. That is, for example, A0, B0, A1, B1, A2, B2 and A3, B3. Now, what does this special circuit do? It takes these inputs and it is going to calculate block propagation signal. What is this block propagation signal? If the A and B values are different in all bit positions, that is A0, B0, A1, B1, A2, B2, A3, B3 are different, then the block propagation signal, it will be equal to 1. This signal is used to propagate the carry in or generate carry to the carry out of the block by using the multiplexer. Here also we make use of a multiplexer. Select line will be the block propagation signal. If A and B are of all the bit positions in that block are different, then the block propagation signal will be equal to 1. Thus, carry will be propagated to the next stage. But if A and B are not different in all the bit positions, then the block propagation signal will be 0. Or in other words, whatever the carry is going to be generated by that block is going to be considered as the final carry, which will be given as the carry input to the next block. The carry in is propagated to carry out of the block by bypassing it. That means if A and B are different, the block propagation signal will be 1. Then the carry input will be propagated and will be given as carry output of the block without actually going through the carry circuitry of that particular block, or it bypasses that block. So, we will see how block propagation signal is going to be generated or what is the circuitry behind it. As I told you, let us consider A0, B0, A1, B1, A2, B2 and A3, B3 as the inputs here. So, when these 4 bits of A and B are given as the inputs, they will pass through the XOR gates to produce P0, P1, P2 and P3. Now, if A0 and B0 are different, that is 1, 0 or 0, 1, then P0 will be 1. But if A and B are equal, that is 1, 1 or 0, 0, then P will be 0. Similarly, the other case. Now, all these P values are, that is propagate signals, are being given as input to the 4 input AND gate. And output of AND gate will be the block propagation signal. Now if all P3, P2, P1, P0, all of these signals are 1, then only the block propagation signal will be 1, because this is the output of the AND gate. If any one of the propagate signals from P0 to P3 are 0, obviously the output of the AND gate will be 0. In short, we can write the block propagation signal generation unit in this fashion. And then this block propagation signal is given as select line to the 2:1 multiplexer, to which the previous carry Ck-1 and the output carry generated by the block are given as the inputs. So if the block propagation signal is 0, it means the carry generated by the block is going to be passed as the carry output. Otherwise, if the block propagation signal is 1, then Ck-1, that is previous carry, is going to be taken as the carry output. Thus, making use of this special circuitry, we have the carry skip adder circuit in this fashion. Now you can see here that this is a 24-bit adder, wherein the 24-bit adder is divided into 4 blocks. So if it is divided into 4 blocks, it means each block should be performing the addition of 6 bits. So you can see here, the first block is performing the addition of A0 to A5 and B0 to B5. The second block is performing the addition of A6 to A11, B6 to B11. The third block is performing the addition of A12 to A17 and B12 to B17. Fourth block is performing the addition of A18 to A23, B18 to B23. Now, to each block, the special circuitry has been attached. And what is the special circuitry? The special circuitry is the block propagation signal generation unit. Now, when the A and B values of the block are given to the adders in that block, this A and B values are also given to the block propagation signal generation unit. That is the special circuitry. So that before the adder is also going, adders in that block are also going to perform the operation, and the special circuitry is also going to perform the operation, so that you have the carry generated by the block and the previous carry. These two will be given as inputs to the 2:1 multiplexer, and you can see here the select line is nothing but the output of the special circuitry. Now, based on this, if this signal is 0, that means the carry generated by the block is going to be passed to the output as the carry out. Otherwise, if the signal is 1, then carry input is going to be passed as the carry output. Similarly, you can see here this carry output, which is obtained from the multiplexer of the previous block, is given as carry input to the next block. Once again, the inputs which are given to this particular block are also given to the special circuitry of this block. Thus, the block propagation signal is generated, and depending upon whether it is 0 or 1, once again the new carry is been selected. So this goes on. So that is why the name of this circuitry is known as carry skip adder. Why carry skip adder? If the block propagation signal generated was 1, then no need of waiting for the adder circuitry to generate its carry output. Directly the carry of the previous stage would be given as the carry out of that particular stage. Now, the carry skip adder, in the previous example I have told you it is a 24-bit addition. So divided into 4 blocks, each block containing 6 adders. Thus, the carry skip adder, it can be divided into m blocks, each block containing p adder cells. Now, what is K1? K1 is the time needed by the carry to propagate through the adder cell. K2 is the time needed for the carry to skip over a block. Actual computation time depends upon the input bits given to the block. Thus, the worst case delay, that is worst case propagation time, T, is given by T is equal to 2 into P minus 1 into K1 plus M minus 2 into K2. How is that obtained? The worst case delay occurs when the 24-bit adder circuitry, which I had explained you previously, generates the block propagation signal as 0 for the first block and the last block. Middle 2 blocks, the block propagation signal is 1. What does this mean? This means middle 2 blocks can actually, simply bypassing the adder circuitry, the carry can be propagated to the next stage. The carry can be propagated to the next stage. But the first block, because P is equal to Z, that is Pi is equal to 0, or the block propagation signal equal to 0, it means the carry generated by this stage will have to wait for the carry to actually be generated by the adder blocks. And that carry generated by the adder blocks is adder cells is going to be taken as the Cout of that particular block. Similarly, the last block also the same way, because the block propagation signal is 0. Thus, T is equal to 2 into P minus 1 into K1. Why 2? Because the last block and the first block, in both these cases the carry has to be propagated through each adder cell in that particular block. So 2 into P minus 1. Why P minus 1? If we have 4 adder cells, adder cells, carry is given as input to the first adder cell. So carry is propagated once, twice and thrice. So that is why for 4 bit 3 times the carry is propagated. So for P adder cells the carry is propagated P minus 1 number of times. So 2, because 2 blocks are propagating the carry, into P minus 1, because in each P adders P minus 1 propagations will occur, into K1, where K1 is the number of K1 is the delay. K1 is the delay or the time needed by the carry to propagate through the adder cell, plus M minus 2 into K2. What is K2? K2 is the time needed for the carry to skip over the block. Now here you have 2 blocks through which the carry can actually skip or bypass the circuitry and go to the next stage. So out of the here 4 cells, 2 blocks are having the block propagation signal as 1. So that is why M minus 2 into K2. And once again N is equal to M into P, or P is equal to N by M. As I had explained you previously, we have to substitute P is equal to N by M, differentiate T with respect to M and equate to 0 to find the minimum value of T. And minimum value of T will be when M is equal to square root of 2 and K1 by K2. Now, the carry skip adder, we can make use of CMOS part of the circuit, or in other words we can make use of pass transistors and multiplexers and full adder circuitry to generate the block propagation signal generation unit. So this particular circuitry, it actually shows the arrangement of a block with mux and block propagation signal generation unit, leading to good regularity and high density layout in the silicon. Now you can see in this circuitry we are making use of dynamic logic. NMOS arrays are being used here, and similarly the transmission gates are also used that will act as the multiplexer. You can see here in the output two transmission gates have been used to which the control signals have been given, and this part of the circuitry act as a 2:1 multiplexer. Now if the clock signal is equal to 0, then the PMOS transistor is on. So when the PMOS transistor is on, then you can say that the output here, this particular line is going to be actually charged to logic 1. So when logic 1 is given as input to the NOT gate, then output of the NOT gate is 0. So you can see that this particular transmission gate, 1 is given to the gate of NMOS and 0 is given to the gate of PMOS. So this transmission gate is on. Similarly, the second transmission gate, 0 is given to the gate of NMOS and 1 is given to the gate of PMOS. So this transmission gate is off. So that the transmission gate which is on will pass its input signal to the output signal. So the input signal given to this transmission gate is Cin. So Cin will pass to the output, or Cout is equal to Cin. Now if the clock is equal to 1, you can see that when clock is equal to 1, the PMOS transistor is off. So when PMOS transistor is off, now NMOS transistor circuitry is going to control the output. So here you can see that we have 4 blocks here, to which A0, B0, A1, B1, A2, B2 and A3, B3 are given as the inputs. So each adder cell on the block, whatever it is, it contains one adder. It also contains the XOR operation circuit, which is going to generate the proper complement of the propagate signal. So you can see the first block, A0, B0 are given as the input, Cin is given as the input, so that C0, that is the carry output of the first stage, is being generated. Similarly, P0 bar, that is A0 XOR B0 whole bar, is also being generated. Similarly, the other adders, other blocks present here, each of the block generates output carry of that block. In addition, they generate complement of the propagate signal P0 bar, P1 bar, P2 bar and P3 bar. These complement of the propagate signals are given as inputs to the gates of the NMOS transistor, and another NMOS transistor here gate is connected to the clock. Now clock is equal to 1, so these NMOS transistors are on. Whether the other NMOS transistors are on or off, that depends upon the value of the complement of the propagate signals. So when we consider this part of the circuitry in this way, the on NMOS transistors are going to be taken as closed switch, so that these 4 NMOS transistors are in parallel, to which P0 bar, P1 bar, P2 bar, P3 bar are given as the inputs. Thus, the output which is obtained is NAND operation of P0 bar, P1 bar, P2 bar, P3 bar, or in other words, it is it is P0 bar. Here you should have plus sign. I'm very sorry. Here you should have plus sign here. So when you have the plus sign, then in that case what we get is that we get AND operation at the output. So P0 bar plus P1 bar plus P2 bar plus P3 bar whole bar will give us P0, P1, P2, P3, which is nothing but the block propagation signal. Now this block propagation signal, when it is equal to 1, when this block propagation signal is equal to 1, then in that particular case you can see that block propagation signal is 1, so that output of the NOT gate is 0 and first transmission gate is on, second transmission gate is off, and once again carry in will be passed through this particular transmission gate to the output, or C out is equal to C in. So C out is equal to C in when block propagation signal is equal to 1, or P0, P1, P2, P3 is equal to 1. Now if block propagation signal was 0, that means out of P0, P1, P2, P3, any one or more than one propagate signals are 0, then the block propagation signal would be 0. Now when block propagation signal is equal to 0, then output of NOT gate is 1. Thus the first transmission gate here is off and the second transmission gate is on. Now you can see that the second transmission gate input is C3, which is the carry out of the fourth block of this adder cells. So C3 will be passed to the output. So what does this mean? If the block propagation signal was 1, irrespective of what is happening in the adder cells, it does not matter, C out will be equal to C in. But when the block propagation signal is equal to 0, then in that case the carry which has been generated by each adder cell has to be propagated to the next adder cell, and finally C3 is obtained, and that C3 is the value of C out of this particular block. Next we go for carry look ahead adder. What is carry look ahead adder? All of us know carry look ahead adder because we had studied it in digital electronics. Now carry look ahead adder, it improves the computation time, but it needs extra hardware to do so. It has fan in and fan out problems. As we study further into and see what carry look ahead adder is, we can see that more gates have to be used whose inputs are large numbers. That means the number of input to the gates would be increasing. Similarly, number of a gate which has to drive other gates also would increase. That is why the carry look ahead adder will have fan in and fan out issues. Similarly, it is not a regular structure. Now we have seen that the half sum, that is HK is equal to AK XOR BK, or it is A bar B plus AB bar. Similarly, the carry is equal to, that is new carry is equal to AB plus A XOR B into C, or it can be written as AB plus A plus B into C. So I told you we can use XOR and OR operation interchangeably in the expressions for new carry. So from this we can take the value of K as 0, 1, 2 and 3 for 4-bit adder. So C0 is equal to A0 B0 plus A0 plus B0 into C in. So C in is the actual input carry. C0 is the carry generated by the first adder cell. C1 is the carry generated by the second adder cell, and we get C1 by substituting K is equal to 1. So here we have A1 B1 plus A1 plus B1 into C0, or if we replace C0 by the expression we got, then C1 is equal to A1 B1 plus A1 plus B1 into A0 B0 plus A1 plus B1 into A0 plus B0 into C in. Similarly, we can get C2 by substitute. C2 is equal to A2B2 plus A2 plus B2 into C1, and we will substitute the value of C1 so that we'll get the expression of C2. Similarly, we'll get the expression for C3. C3 is equal to A3B3 plus A3 plus B3 into C2. So C2 is replaced by the expression which we got. So that final expression of C3 is the one which is written here. Now we have C0 is equal to A0 B0 plus A0 plus B0 into Cin. We know that A into B is the generate signal G, and A plus B is, or A XOR B is the propagate signal P. I told you plus and XOR can be used interchangeably, so everywhere I have used plus here. So A0 B0 is represented by G0, the generate signal 0. Similarly, A0 plus B0 is P0. Next, C1 is A1 B1 plus A1 plus B1 into A0 B0 plus A1 plus B1 into A0 plus B0 into Cin, or A1 B1 is replaced with G1, A1 plus B1 is replaced by P1, and we get in place of C0, if I replace the expression for C0, we will get G1 plus P1 G0 plus P1 P0 into Cin. Similarly, C2 expression, in place of A2 B2, we write G2, A2 plus B2 is P2. So we get the expression of C2 as G2 plus P2 G1 plus P2 P1 G0 plus P2 P1 P0 Cin. C3, in C3 expression, we are writing A3 B3 as G3, A3 plus B3 as P3, A2 B2 as P2, A2 plus B2 as A2 B2 as G2, A2 plus B2 as A2 plus B2 as P2, A1 B1 as G1, A1 plus B1 as P1, A0 B0 is G0, A0 plus B0 is P0. So we get C3 is equal to G3 plus P3 G2 plus P3 P2 G1 plus P3 P2 P1 G0 plus P3 P2 P1 P0 Cin. The general block diagram of carry look ahead adder is shown here, and the general expression for the carry output is also given based on the previous expressions which we had derived. So you can see that you have a carry look ahead generator to which G0 P0, G1 P1, G2 P2 and G3 P3 are given as the inputs in addition to C0. Now we know P0, P1, P2, P3 are obtained by XOR operations of X and Y input bits. Similarly, G0, G1, G2, G3 are obtained by performing AND operations of the corresponding X and Y input bits. Now these are given as inputs so that C1, C2, C3, C4 can be generated, and the sum bits S0, S1, S2, S3 are obtained by performing the XOR operation of the propagate signal with the carry. So P0, C0 XOR operation gives S0, P1 XOR C1 gives S1, P2 XOR C2 gives S2, and P3 XOR C3 gives us S3. Now, if the number of bits to be added is more, then you can have a cascade of carry look ahead adders. Here, this particular block diagram shows us 3-bit carry look ahead adders being cascaded. So you have 3 such blocks. So that means total 9 bits are addition is being performed, each block performing addition of 3 bits. So that C8 is the final output carry and S0 to S8 is the sum bits which has been generated. Now this is the 3-bit adder cell. I told you 3-bit adder cells, adder with carry look ahead adders are being cascaded. So one 3-bit adder block is in this fashion. Here you have the carry look ahead logic. the carry look ahead logic is going to generate the propagate signal P and generate signal G. Using these and the carry input C in, the new carry is going to be generated, and similarly the sum is going to be generated. So if it is a 3-bit carry look ahead adder, then for the first 3-bit carry look ahead adder, A0 B0, A1 B1 and A2 B2 would have been given as the inputs, and Cin would be the carry input given as the input. So C0, C1, C2 are generated, and C2 is the carry output of this particular block. S0, S1, S2 would be the sum bits which have been generated. Now, to avoid sequential propagation of the carry signal between the blocks, additional signals, that is pi and gamma, are generated. What is this pi and gamma? Pi is nothing but P3, P2, P1, P0 into Cin, where we know that the propagate signal P is given by A XOR B. So pi can directly be obtained by performing the AND operation of P3, P2, P1, P0 and Cin. Similarly, gamma is equal to G3 plus P3 G2 plus P3 P2 G1 plus P3 P2 P1 G0. You can see that we have just separated the carry expression for C3 as gamma and pi. So C3 is equal to gamma plus pi, or in other words, C3 we know it is G3 plus P3 G2 plus P3 P2 G1 plus P3 P2 P1 G0 plus P3 P2 P1 P0 Cin. So we have just separated out the terms and written the carry output in terms of pi and gamma. Thus, the block diagram to generate pi and gamma and the carry outputs is given here. You can see P0 G0, P1 G1, P2 G2 and P3 G3 are given as the inputs in addition to Cin. So that C0, C1, C2, and in addition pi and gamma are given as the outputs. Pi plus gamma will give us the final carry C3. Now here what we have done here is till now whatever expressions we have got, all the terms you can see that is which we have previously computed, they are not dependent upon the previous carry. Whatever expressions of carry we had got, so you can see that they are independent of the carry of the previous stage. Thus, carry look ahead adder is faster, or the speed of the operation has been improved. So all the expressions have, or they make use of AND gates and OR gates. So that is why we can say that the carry look ahead adder is faster. But one problem comes into picture. If the carry look ahead adder is performing addition of more than 4 input bits, then in that case, like you can see from the previous expressions obtained, that the AND operation maximum number of inputs given to the AND gate in C3 is equal to 5. As you can see in the previous expression, here you can see that we are giving P3, P2, P1, P0 Cin. So that means 5 inputs need to be given to the AND gate, or 5 input AND gate has to be used when 4-bit carry look ahead adder is being used. Similarly, if number of bits to be added in the carry look ahead adder increases and it is greater than 4, in that case the AND gate which is used should be larger. That implies that more number of inputs need to be given as input to the AND gate. Thus, that will also cause the delay problem. So that is the reason why what we have to do is that we have to divide the complete adder into blocks of carry look ahead adders. So you can see here that the carry look ahead adder is performing the addition of 16 bits. So 16-bit carry look ahead adder is divided into 4 blocks of carry look ahead adders, wherein each block will perform addition of 4 bits, and 5th block is being used to generate or find out the carry output of each block. So here, as I told you, 4 carry look ahead adder blocks are being used to perform the addition of 4 bits. So we can see that first carry look ahead adder block is generating pi naught and gamma naught as its output, and that pi naught and gamma naught are given as inputs to the 4th CLA unit here, and then automatically C3 is going to be generated. We know C3 is equal to pi naught plus gamma naught, so that is generated by this particular block, and C3 is ready available to the next carry look ahead adder unit. Similarly, pi 1 and gamma 1 generated by the second carry look ahead adder unit is given as input to the 4th carry look ahead adder unit, and automatically C7 is obtained, which is given as input to the 3rd carry look ahead adder block. C7 is equal to pi 1 plus gamma 1. Similarly, pi 2 and gamma 2 are given as inputs to the CLA block, and C11 is generated. C11 is equal to gamma 2 plus pi 2. And finally, pi 3 and gamma 3 generated by the 4th carry look ahead unit is given as the input to the 5th CLA unit, and C15 is generated, where C15 is equal to gamma 3 plus pi 3. So what is this 5th unit actually performing? 5th unit is taking the inputs pi naught gamma naught, pi 1 gamma 1, pi 2 gamma 2 and pi 3 gamma 3 as the inputs, and performing the addition operation and generating the corresponding carry outputs, which are given to the next block as the inputs. Now, the carry look ahead adder, that is here in this particular diagram, C3 bar is being generated by using this type of CMOS circuitry. So here what we can see is that the CMOS circuitry, whatever has been used, it is going to perform, the structure is in this fashion. You have C naught, see here first one, it is C in into P naught plus G naught. So G naught is given as input to the gate of this NMOS transistor, C in is given as input to the gate of this NMOS transistor, and P naught is given as the input. So because these two are in series, it is P naught into C in, that is in parallel to G naught. So it is G naught plus C naught into P in. So we will get C naught is equal to G naught plus P naught into C in. So this PMOS part of the circuitry and this NMOS part of the circuitry together, they will give us the C naught value. But here the whole circuitry is being used to generate C3 bar. Only if we make use of only this part of the circuit by connecting to VDD and the ground, we will get C naught. Similarly, here you can see that this rectangular block, it gives us C naught. C naught is in series with P1, so that we have P1 into C naught plus G1. P1 into C naught plus G1. So the PMOS part of the circuitry also will be this similar one, and we will get G1 plus P1 into C naught. So that's what is given here, C naught into P1 plus G1. And next we have C1 up till this particular part, C1 circuitry is already present. C1 circuitry is in series with P2, so it is P2 into C1 plus G2. P2 into C1 plus G2. So we have the PMOS part of the circuit here, and then we'll get G2 plus P2 into C1. Next we have C3, that is, up till here we had C2. So next we have P3, which is in series with C2. So P3 into C2 plus you have this NMOS transistor in parallel, that is G3. So it is G3 plus P3 into C2. So finally we get C3 bar as the output of this CMOS circuit. Now you can see that if for a 4-bit carry look-ahead adder, if each of the carry bits which are being generated are actually realized using such type of circuit, then 4 such circuitries must be implemented, one for C0, C1, C2 and C3. So we can say that the circuit would be complex. So to reduce the complexity, multiple output domino logic is being used. So if you remember, we had studied what is multiple output domino logic circuitry. In a single circuit, multiple outputs can be generated. So here you can see that domino logic circuitry is being used. You have pass transistor and you have the PMOS transistors, and NMOS array is being used. So when NMOS array is used, you see the outputs are being connected to the NOT gates. So this is nothing but the domino logic circuit. But because you have multiple outputs which are being obtained from the circuit, that's why the name multiple output dynamo logic circuit. So first you have P0 Cin plus G0, that is P0 and Pin in series and G0 in parallel, and you have this particular PMOS transistor connected. So this PMOS transistor connected with P0 Cin plus G0 to get, at this particular point we get C0 bar, so output of NOT gate will be C0. Similarly, next P1 into the P0 Cin plus G0, and then the parallel combination with G1, that is C1 is equal to G1 plus P1 into G0 plus P0 C0. G1 plus P1 into C0 is obtained from this particular part and this PMOS transistor, so that we get C1 at the output of the NOT gate. Next we have P2 in series with C1 and then G2 in parallel to that circuitry, so that we have C2 is equal to G2 plus P2 into C1, and at this particular point we get the complement of C2, and once it is passed through the NOT gate we'll get C2. Similarly, we get C3 where P3 is in series with C2 and G3 is parallel to that path. So we get C3 is equal to G3 plus P3 into C2. So I hope you have understood all the topics which I had explained to you here. We have studied Manchester adder cells, carry look-ahead adder, carry skip adder, carry select adder. You can see that the way the adder cells are designed, every design is unique in its own way. They are trying to improve the speed or computation time has to be reduced. So that is why different types of designs are actually obtained. So depending upon what our application is, one of the adders has to be chosen and used in our circuitry. So this is the end of this particular video. Thank you for watching. Hope you have enjoyed this particular lecture, and if you please like and subscribe, and if you have any doubts, you can leave the doubts in the comments below. So I will see you in the next video lecture. Thank you. Bye.